Hello and welcome to a crunchy video. Today we are making Agbeli Kaklo. Now, Agbeli Kaklo is a snack made from cassava, and I will be showing you what that process is. Now the first thing we are going to do is to peel our cassava also sometimes known as manioc or yuca, and then wash it properly because cassava can have a lot of dirt on there. And then once we're done with that, we're going to grate it. Now we don't want to grate it too fine or too rough. There has to be a fine balance. If you can see the grater that I'm using, you see the size of the holes in the grater. This is quite tedious. You have to be careful. You can see the texture of the dough there. And so we're just going to speed that up and then get the rest of our cassava grated. So the next step is to squeeze out water from the grated cassava. A simple way to do that is to take a bit of the dough into a clean kitchen towel and then just squeeze that. You want to make sure that you're getting out as much of the water as possible. So you can do it in bits. Now this is a quite intensive preparation for a snack, I think. So if you're going to try this, give yourself enough time. Don't try to rush it, especially if you haven't done this before. And then after that, we go on to the next step. So now that we've got our water squeezed out, the next thing we're going to do is to pass that dough through a sieve. Now the sieve or the sifter that we use is not regular. I don't know what the name is in English. I don't think it has an English name. I remember asking someone on Twitter and she said the closest was a winnow. This is what we use at home and it's called an agbadze in Ewe. I'm not sure whether there are other names in any other local languages. If there are, please let me know. But this is what we would use to sift the dough to get it much finer. Now, we also use this agbadze when we are making corn dough for bakbele. And we also have another use for this. When we buy water leaf or amma, as we call it, we will put that on top of the agbadze and then dry it just to get the leaves a bit dry. So now we've got our dough all sifted. You're going to simply add some salt and some blended onions. You can decide to just add salt, that works perfectly fine as well. But I just find that onions give it an extra flavor, which is quite nice. And I am pretty sure that if you wanted to add in a bit more spices, you probably could. You could add some black pepper, you could add some scotch bonnets, whatever. I'm sure that will make it quite interesting. But traditionally, you would either only add salt or salt and onions. So you're going to do that and then make sure you give it a mix. Add a bit of the salt, fry a small batch and then test whether that's enough. I wouldn't recommend you tasting it raw, even though that is what I secretly do. Anyway, so once we've done that, we are going to form the balls. Now, what is very important here, and please listen to me, is that you don't squeeze the balls very hard. Unfortunately, I was not able to capture this properly, but you want to make sure that when you're forming them, you don't press too hard on them. You don't want the balls to be tight and compact. You just want to be able to have a ball that holds up in the oil and doesn't fall apart. That is simply what you need to note. Because again, if you squeeze too hard, it's going to be a disaster. So we're going to form our balls and then move on to the next step of frying them. Now the trick with frying Agbeli Kaklo is your heat is going to be medium to hot. So that you get a nice brown crust or a nice firm crust without the oil seeping into it. However, once that is in the oil, so you're going to turn down the heat and then make sure that it cooks slowly. Now I've put in one ball because to fry because I want to show you how it looks like when it's not properly done. Then I took that out prematurely, and as you can see on the screen now, the inside is not uniform. You can see like very white specks. You've got a bit of a translucent side after the brown side, and then at the very core you've got the white bits. So that shows you that this is not cooked. The inside, it needs to be uniform, sort of a translucent color, as you might have seen in the beginning, and as you will also see at the end of this video. So let the heat be high once you put them in, and then turn it down, and then make sure that it cooks slowly. Make sure to turn it around so that they all get a beautiful, even golden brown color. You've got your beautiful, hot, tasty snack. The full recipe for this has already been up since last year. It's just that I forgot to film a video for this, and so I thought this is the right time to do that. Agbeli Kaklo is eaten with copra, coconut that is dry and which has an outer covering which is brown. I'll put an insert here. I prefer to eat this when it's fresh out of the oil, when it's warm. Once you stick this into the fridge and you try to eat it cold, it can be quite tough and it can be quite dry. That is easily rectified by putting it in the oven, just heating it up. Now, if you want to know a terrible experience that I had with my siblings and my cousin and my father making this when we were much younger, you should go check out this blog post on gingerandseasalt.com. I mean, in retrospect, it is quite funny, but at the time, it was not funny and actually quite dangerous. So you can see, and I'm sure you can see how the inside is beautifully cooked. You can hear the crunch. I couldn't resist, so I had to take a bite, and you can hear that, I'm sure. And yeah, that's basically it. You've got your Agbeli Kaklo made from grated cassava. You grate the cassava, you squeeze out the water, you sift it, you season it, you form the balls, and then you fry it. And that is basically it. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed filming it. Agbeli Kaklo is always a hit. And I hope you will join me in my other videos next time, and happy eating!